Tonight, the purpose of this session is to introduce the proposals to you, is to provide an overview of the scheme along with the proposed designs and to go into some of the detail. It's a chance for you to ask questions on the designs or indeed any aspect of the project, and please submit your questions via the chat bar that we'll come to at the end of the presentation. I'd like now to hand over to Thomas to take us through the first part of the presentation.
Thank you very much, Ian. I'm going to take you through the policy context for the project, how we came up with the options that we are now presenting for consultation today and through this period. Ben will then take you through the specific proposals and some of the transport modelling evidence that we have, before I then pick it up again with kind of next steps and take the opportunity to highlight a couple of other projects that the council is currently working on in Aylesbury, just for your information. So the first point to say is that primary public transport corridors, or Pptcs, are a key component of the adopted Aylesbury transport strategy. The strategy was adopted in 2017 and sets out the A41 as well as a couple of the other strategic routes in Aylesbury, as I say, as Pptcs. So Pptcs are about encouraging sustainable modes of travel, including buses, walking and cycling. We've looked to accomplish that without impacting as well on car users. So we've tried to make the corridor better for all users. Next slide, please. Just to highlight a couple of the other strategic objectives mentioned in the Aylesbury Transport Strategy, and I'm not going to read through all of these. I wanted to highlight the requirement to improve journey time reliability, which we feel we achieve on this project, to make it easier and more attractive to travel by active and public transport modes, and importantly, enhanced passenger information to encourage and make it easier to use the buses. And that's something that we are incorporating into this project. Next slide, please. The specific objectives of this scheme are set out on the slide. So they are to reduce congestion on the A41 between the western boundary of the Berryfields development site, so that's at Aylesbury Vale Parkway roundabout, and the Bicester Road Gatehouse Road roundabout, so that's the roundabout with the Buckinghamshire Council headquarters at the old Aylesbury Vale District Council offices on. To reduce journey times and improve journey time reliability for all road users along the A41, and to improve bus service information along the A41 for people to better plan their journeys. So next slide, please. I want to take the opportunity to take you through some of the background and the work we've done to get to this stage over the last year or so. So in order to come up with these proposals, the first key piece of work that we did was to construct what's called a VISIM, that's the type of software transport model, to assess the corridor. The model utilises mobile phone data, traffic counts, population data such as the census, as well as understanding of key destinations to build a model of the road. It's a cutout of a bigger model, which is the Aylesbury transport model. We utilise the model to look at where issues are at the moment, and we added projected growth of things like where developments are going to be to assess whether to assess the situation as a whole. It's important to say that we do understand that people are sometimes a bit sceptical about the way transport modelling is used, and we did obviously speak to colleagues, and colleagues also obviously drive the route regularly to make sure that what we were seeing in the transport model reflected real life. We then took the information out of the model, and it demonstrated that the key issues were from Paradise Orchard through to the Ravens Lane junction in the AM and PM peaks. And it's quite tidal, so in the morning the issues are from kind of going into Aylesbury, and in the evening the issues are coming out of Aylesbury. We took this information and we worked with the transport strategy team at the council, local councillors and Transport for Buckinghamshire to identify the different options that we are now presenting here at the consultation. We then completed the designs and as I say, we're now at the consultation looking to get feedback. I also just wanted to highlight that the funding for this project is approximately £3.5 million. It's secured from developer contributions and East West Rail. The money is not coming directly from the council. It is only a finite pot, and what we've really tried to do is target the key areas that we feel that needed to be addressed using the finite money that we have. If we'd had more money, of course, the scheme would have been a bigger scheme. So I'm now going to pass on to Ben, who's going to take you through the specific measures that we're looking to implement and that we're consulting on. Thank you, Ben.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. For the following slides, I'll be explaining our proposed improvement measures along the corridor. This slide, which should be on your screen now, provides some detail on the physical works we are looking to implement as part of the A41 corridor improvement scheme. After I run through the physical improvement measures which are being proposed, I will then briefly explain some of the technology that we will be installing to help the corridor operate effectively. Okay, looking at this slide, working west to east or left to right, the first improvement measure we are proposing is to extend the right turn westbound lane on Bicester Road at the junction with Paradise Orchard, as shown in the red text. Then we are looking to relocate the existing eastbound bus lane so that it commences at the River Tame Bridge, ending shortly before the Jackson Road Dickens Way junction, shown in the blue text. We're also looking to propose installing new traffic signals at the Jackson Road Dickens Way junction, linking the new signals with the existing signals at the Paradise Orchard, Sir Henry Lee Crescent junction, as well as the Pegasus crossing in between. And this is shown in the green text within your plan. And finally, as stated in the brown text, we are looking to provide two eastbound lanes between the Jackson Road Dickens Way junction and the Ravens Lane junction, where there is currently only one eastbound lane. The following slides will go into more detail on each of these improvement measures. Next slide, please. Okay, the top plan shows how we are looking to extend the right turn lane for westbound traffic turning right from Bicester Road into Paradise Orchard, or as other people know it, Martin Dolby Way. This extension will provide more space for vehicles to wait in the right turn lane so other traffic have a greater opportunity to pass straight through the junction towards Wadston with less chance of being held up by the queues of right turning vehicles. The traffic signals will be optimised to allow more vehicles to turn right into Paradise Orchard during every cycle of lights, along with giving buses preferences within the signal optimisation, which I will explain a little bit later on within this presentation. The lower plan illustrates how we are looking to relocate the eastbound bus lane between the Paradise Orchard and Dickens Way junctions. The eastbound bus lane will commence instead at the River Tame Road Bridge and end shortly before the Jackson Road Dickens Way junction. This will reduce delays for buses approaching the junction, allowing them to bypass any queuing traffic, a key component of making the corridor a Pptc. Where the bus lane is commencing, we are also proposing to construct a pedestrian island, as shown at the bottom left-hand side of your screen, making it easier for pedestrians to cross the A41 at the Hayden Hill Park entrance. From the Paradise Orchard junction, the eastbound merge lane will also be extended along the A41 to add capacity to the corridor. Next slide, please. One of our major improvement measures, which we are looking to undertake, is the signalisation of the Jackson Road Dickens Way junction. So the roundabout will be removed and replaced with traffic signals instead. This will allow the traffic signals to adapt to the traffic conditions, and these new signals will be linked with the Paradise Orchard, Sir Henry Lee Crescent junction, and the Pegasus crossing to better manage congestion and delays. The approaches to this junction will be widened and lengthened, increasing the capacity of the junction. The plan at the bottom left side shows an all-movement junction which will remain in place, with permitted turns, showing the permitted turns drivers can make left, right and straight on. Traffic signals will be optimised, giving buses priority within the signal optimisation. The signalised pedestrian crossing on the A41 east arm will be relocated nearer to the junction, so it forms part of the junction. There will also be a toucan crossing constructed on the Jackson Road arm, allowing pedestrians and cyclists to cross the arm of this junction. And there will also be a new pedestrian island built on the Dickens Way arm, making it easier for pedestrians to cross this section of the junction. Next slide, please. And finally, we are also proposing to narrow the running lanes between the Jackson Road and Ravens Lane junctions. This is for eastbound traffic, where there is currently only one running lane. This will increase network capacity and help reduce journey times. For eastbound traffic at the Ravens Lane junction, the right lane will be for those turning right into Ravens Lane, whereas the near side lane will be those going straight on into town. The Ravens Lane junction itself will remain as a roundabout. Next slide, please. Okay, this slide here attempts to illustrate all the technological features we are looking to implement as well. The traffic signals at the Paradise Orchard junction, the Pegasus crossing signals, and the proposed new signals at the Jackson Road junction will be linked using a system called SCOOT, which stands for Split Cycle and Offset Optimization Technique. SCOOT allows traffic signals to work more effectively by assessing and adapting to real traffic conditions. Traffic that is approaching the signals from different directions are continuously detected using loops installed in the road itself. The SCOOT system adjusts the duration of the green light signal to best manage traffic and minimize delays, and in turn reducing fuel consumption and vehicle emissions. Also, we plan to install ANPR and CCTV cameras at the Paradise Orchard and Sir Henry Lee Crescent junction, as well as the Ravens Lane junction. This will allow us to measure journey times between the two improved junctions. The cameras can also be monitored by Thames Valley Police. We're also looking to install a variable measures sign along the corridor, which will provide real-time information to drivers. And also, as mentioned earlier, we are looking to prioritise bus users. We plan to introduce bus detection on buses. This system recognises when a bus is waiting at a junction and will look to give that arm of the junction preference. Therefore, traffic signals at the Paradise Orchard junction, Jackson Road junction, will also be able to detect when a bus is approaching the junction. Depending on whether where the bus is in relation to the junction, the signals will then try and prioritise the bus, giving it greater opportunity on passing through the junction before the signals go red. This will help to reduce journey times for public transport users. The diagram below also shows how all the software will operate along the route. It is important to note that we plan on installing 4 new real-time passenger information units, allowing public transport users more certainty on when their buses will arrive. We are looking to implement 1 at the railway station, 2 at eastbound bus stops, and 1 at a westbound bus stop. Okay, this slide here tries to summarise some of the expected journey time savings if the improvement measures are constructed. Okay, with the funding available and with the proposed improvement measures identified, we undertook journey time modelling comparing these proposals against a do-nothing scenario, which allowed for an increase in vehicle numbers along with development across Aylesbury. We undertook journey time modelling in the AM peak, that's 7:30 in the morning till 8:30, into peak, that's lunchtime, and PM peak, 5 till 6 in the evening, and looked at east and westbound journeys along the corridor. The first table summarises some of the savings expected for general car users. For instance, in the AM peak, we predict the average car travel time will reduce by about 1 minute and 14 seconds. And this is achieved by the signalisation of the Jackson Road Dickens Way junction and 2 eastbound lanes between the Jackson Road junction and Ravens Lane junction. For westbound out of town, during the afternoon peak especially, we predict the average car travel time will reduce by just over 2 minutes. This is achieved by the extension of the right turn lane into Martin Dolby Way. Like for general traffic, for buses, again there are some relatively high journey time savings. For eastbound journeys, that's into town, during the morning peak, we predict that average bus travel time will reduce by about 43 seconds in the AM peak, and this is partly achieved by the relocation of the bus lane. The westbound journey time savings, we expect to experience roughly about 2 minutes worth of journey time savings for buses in the AM and PM peak periods. These savings are expected to be achieved through the bus priority measures, as I explained earlier, and the extension of the right turn lane from the A41 into Paradise Orchard. It must be noted that we have also undertaken journey time reliability surveys, which will improve, giving road users more certainty on how long their journeys will take along the corridor. Where we can, we've tried to limit the delay for road users entering the corridor from side roads, which I'll cover in the next slide. Okay, with such high traffic levels along the stretch of the A41 itself, it is essential to focus improvements on the corridor itself. However, we realise improving journey times along this route could negatively affect the time it takes to exit side roads onto the A41. So along with increasing capacity at the junction, we propose to set new traffic signals at the Jackson Road Dickens Way junction, setting them to account for that and allow regular side road traffic flow. If all the improvement measures that we are proposing go ahead, we predict that those exiting the following side roads will see very little change in their journey times when exiting the side road. Those are Paradise Orchard, Meadowcroft Road, Gatehouse Road and Griffin Lane. But of course, these drivers will also experience journey time savings when they enter the corridor itself. We predict there will be reduced waiting times for those exiting the following side roads on Dickens Way in the afternoon peak and Ravens Lane in the morning and afternoon peak. And again, they will also experience the journey time savings along the corridor. However, we also predict there will be slightly increased waiting times for those exiting the following side roads. That's Jackson Road in the morning peak and afternoon peak, and Dickens Way in the morning peak. But those increase in journey times will be mitigated by the savings they'll experience on the corridor itself. Okay, I'll now hand you back over to Thomas, who'll be able to go through the next few slides.
Thank you very much, Ben. So I just wanted to take you through the kind of key milestones and the programme ahead for the project. So you can see that the current activity we're in is public consultation, and that runs for another 2 weeks. We'll then be doing some analysis of the consultation, and we will be putting forward what's called a key decision to the council. So the cabinet member for transport will be taking a decision, taking into account the consultation feedback in approximately March. We will then be completing the design of the scheme, incorporating the consultation feedback, and we'll look to complete that by about June, before ideally starting construction in about September. If we do start on site in September, our current programme has us finishing in spring of 2022. It's really important to note that these dates are indicative. Obviously, we're in a situation in terms of COVID and everything that's happening on that, and we have had members of staff redeployed and various other implications from COVID-19, as well as obviously the consultation itself. You know, if there is significant feedback that needs to mean significant changes to the scheme, then this programme could change. Before we go to the Q&A, and I can see that there's been some questions already typed in, and please do continue to do so. I just wanted to take this opportunity to take you through a couple of the other projects that are happening around Aylesbury. So on this slide, you can see the Aylesbury Orbital, which is a key component of the Aylesbury transport strategy. The sections in green are already constructed. The sections in orange are either consented through various different mechanisms, or are in the planning system. So there are active proposals bringing them forward. The sections in red, the council, as I said, they're a key part of the Aylesbury transport strategy. The council currently doesn't have funding to bring them forward, but is looking for opportunities from central government, and as and when opportunities come up, we will be bidding for funding to bring those forward. Next slide, please. The next scheme just wanted to highlight was the Hayden Hill Cycleway. So this scheme has planning permission. It's an extension of the Wadston Greenway, connecting the Roman Park Community Centre in Berryfields with Gough Road and Hayden Hill, running parallel to the A41. And construction is due to commence in spring and will take approximately 4 months. And then lastly, just a little bit of a plug for colleagues in the Aylesbury Garden Town. we are currently looking to develop the Aylesbury Garden Way, and they are currently undergoing quite a lot of community engagement. If you follow the link, which again this presentation will be on the website, if you follow this link, you'll be able to see a lot of engagement events that are coming up, and I'm sure that colleagues would be from Aylesbury Garden Town would be really happy to have your input for where the Aylesbury Garden Way is going to go and what it's going to look like. So thank you very much for listening.